Hello everyone and welcome to the Young and the Restless official channel. I hope everyone is having a wonderful day. Before we begin, please hit the subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up. The Young and the Restless spoilers for Monday, March 16th reveal that Diane Jenkins Abbott will fly into a rage once she realizes Patty Williams has Jack Abbott right where she wants him. On the yacht, Patty will take advantage of drugged Jack's vulnerability. Jack's mind will be clouded enough to betray Diane, so they'll kick off a romp right as Diane makes her way on the yacht. Thanks to Billy Abbott's investigative work and a bribed office manager, the Abbotts will know Patty is tangled up in Jack's yacht drama. Diane, Billy and Kyle Abbott will all make their way to the yacht via a rented boat, so that'll give Diane a chance to go looking for her husband soon enough. After Diane races through the corridor, she'll call out Jack's name and ultimately approach the door to his room. Diane will start pounding on it to see if Jack's inside, but she may find that the door's unlocked. That should allow Diane to open that door and see for herself what Jack's up to. The sight of Jack rolling in the sheets with Patty should leave Diane absolutely appalled. Of course, Diane may demand answers and quickly see that Jack's drugged out of his mind. Although Diane will have some complicated feelings about Jack's actions, she may mostly blame Patty and rip into her with everything she's got. Our spoilers say Diane and Patty will have a fierce face-off as their old rivalry rears its ugly head. Patty's decision to work with Victor Newman, drug Jack and take him to bed will cost her if Diane has anything to say about it. Jack will inevitably be horrified by what he's done once the drug starts wearing off. Although Jack may not go all the way with Patty, he'll go far enough to leave Diane hurt and leave her wondering about the state of their marriage. As for Billy and Kyle, they'll eventually get the latest Patty news as well. Despite Patty's dirty moves, it looks like she'll get away with her part in Victor's mess and head back to Genoa City before long. The Young and the Restless spoilers say the Abbott family has another major crisis ahead, thanks to Victor recruiting Patty, so stay tuned. The storm surrounding the Young and the Restless grows darker as Monday, March 16th arrives, pulling the Abbott family into a confrontation none of them could have imagined. Far from the familiar streets of Genoa City, a lonely yacht drifts across the cold waters of Lake Michigan, carrying with it a secret that is about to explode into devastating truth. Inside that floating prison, Patty Williams watches closely as Jack Abbott struggles beneath the lingering effects of the drugs clouding his mind. Jack's normally sharp instincts and powerful sense of control have been stripped away, leaving him disoriented and vulnerable in ways he would never allow under normal circumstances. Patty, however, sees this fragile state as an opportunity she has long dreamed of, a moment when Jack can be drawn closer to her in a way that reality has never permitted. The fog in Jack's mind dulls his judgment just enough to blur the boundaries of loyalty and reason, and in that dangerous confusion, he betrays the woman who trusts him most. At the very moment Jack's defenses collapse and he becomes entangled in Patty's manipulative embrace, fate begins steering another figure toward the yacht, someone whose arrival will shatter the fragile illusion unfolding inside. That person is none other than Diane Jenkins Abbott, whose determination has driven her across the lake in search of the truth. The Abbotts did not reach this moment by chance. It was the result of relentless digging by Billy Abbott, whose investigative instincts uncovered a critical lead. Through persistence and a carefully placed bribe to a nervous office manager, Billy managed to expose Patty's involvement in the strange events surrounding Jack's disappearance. Armed with that discovery, the Abbott family quickly mobilized, refusing to waste another moment while Jack remained out there somewhere beyond their reach. Diane, Billy and Kyle Abbott boarded a rented boat and cut across the water with urgency burning in their hearts, each mile bringing them closer to answers they both feared and needed. The wind whipped across the deck as the boat sliced through the lake, carrying the family toward a confrontation none of them were emotionally prepared for. For Diane especially, every passing second tightened the knot in her chest, her instincts warning her that what she was about to discover might change everything. Once the yacht finally comes into view, Diane wastes no time stepping aboard and rushing through its narrow corridors. The quiet inside the vessel feels eerie and wrong, amplifying the dread building in her mind as she calls out desperately for Jack. Her voice echoes through the hallways, bouncing off polished walls as she searches for any sign of her husband. The deeper she moves into the yacht, the more urgent her footsteps become until she finally arrives outside the door to Jack's room. Heart pounding and breath tight with anxiety, Diane begins pounding on the door, demanding to know if Jack is inside. The seconds stretch unbearably as she waits for a response that never comes. Then she notices something unexpected. The door isn't locked. That single realization sends a chill through her as she reaches for the handle, knowing that whatever lies on the other side will answer all of her questions at once. When Diane finally pushes the door open, the scene before her stops her cold. There, tangled in the sheets, is Jack, locked in an intimate moment with Patty. The sight is so shocking, so completely horrifying, that Diane feels a wave of fury and disbelief crash over her all at once. Rage ignites instantly, her mind struggling to process how this nightmare could possibly be real. Diane demands answers, her voice trembling with anger and heartbreak as she confronts the scene unfolding before her eyes. But as she looks closer, another disturbing truth begins to reveal itself. Jack is clearly not in his right mind. The drugs clouding his system have left him dazed and barely aware of what he's doing, turning what appears to be betrayal into something far more sinister and manipulative. Even so, Diane's emotions churn violently as she tries to reconcile the image before her with the man she loves. Hurt, confusion, and fury battle for control of her thoughts, but one thing becomes immediately clear: her anger is directed squarely at Patty. Diane unleashes every ounce of her outrage, ripping into Patty with fierce determination as years of rivalry rise back to the surface. The history between these two women has always been volatile, but in this moment it erupts into something far more explosive. Diane cannot believe Patty would stoop so low as to drug Jack, manipulate him, and drag him into bed as part of a twisted scheme. The confrontation that follows is fierce and bitter, with both women clashing in a fiery showdown that threatens to spiral out of control. And behind the chaos stands the shadow of Victor Newman, whose decision to recruit Patty and set this entire plan in motion has ignited a crisis that could tear the Abbott family apart. As the intensity of the moment begins to settle, Jack slowly starts to regain clarity as the drug's grip weakens. Realization dawns in fragments, and with it comes a wave of horror as he understands what has happened. The thought that he could have betrayed Diane, especially under such humiliating circumstances, fills him with shame and disbelief. While he may not have fully crossed every line with Patty, he went far enough to create a devastating image that Diane cannot easily forget. The damage to their relationship has already begun to take root, leaving Diane questioning not only what she saw, but what it means for the future of their marriage. Jack's heart sinks under the weight of that uncertainty, knowing that even an explanation may not erase the pain this moment has caused. Meanwhile, elsewhere on the yacht, Billy and Kyle begin piecing together the latest shocking developments surrounding Patty's actions. The truth about her involvement and the manipulation behind Jack's ordeal spreads quickly among the Abbott family, leaving them stunned and furious in equal measure. Yet despite the underhanded tactics Patty used, drugging Jack, luring him into bed, and helping carry out Victor's scheme, it seems she may avoid immediate consequences. In a twist that only deepens the frustration surrounding the entire ordeal, Patty manages to slip away from the chaos and eventually return to Genoa City. Her escape leaves the Abbotts grappling not only with the emotional wreckage of what happened on the yacht, but also with the knowledge that the architect behind the entire disaster still stands unchallenged. And as the dust begins to settle, the reality becomes painfully clear. Thanks to Victor's decision to involve Patty, the Abbott family is now facing yet another devastating crisis, one that may test their unity, their loyalty, and their resilience like never before. The emotional fallout from the nightmare aboard the yacht refuses to settle quietly, and the storm now spreading through the young and the restless grows heavier with every passing moment. In the dim, tense room where everything unraveled, Jack Abbott slowly begins to regain his senses as the fog of the drug finally starts to lift from his mind. Reality creeps back in piece by painful piece, and with it comes a crushing realization of the situation he has been manipulated into. The blurred memories of what just happened leave him shaken, his heart sinking as he begins to understand how deeply wrong everything must look from the outside. Nearby, Diane Jenkins Abbott stands frozen in the aftermath of the confrontation, still trying to steady herself after the horrifying scene she walked in on. The anger that once burned so fiercely in her chest now mixes with heartbreak and confusion, leaving her emotions tangled in ways she never expected. Nothing about the moment feels simple, and even as she tries to make sense of it all, the image of Jack in Patty's arms refuses to fade from her mind. Across the room, Patty Williams remains disturbingly calm despite the explosion of fury that just unfolded around her. In Patty's world, the twisted chain of events still carries a strange sense of purpose, as though the chaos she created somehow brought her closer to the connection she has always believed she shares with Jack. Yet the reality of the situation has shifted dramatically now that Diane has witnessed everything firsthand. Patty's decision to work alongside Victor Newman to drug Jack and lure him into such a compromising position has ignited a rivalry that was already dangerous long before this night. Diane's fury has made it painfully clear that she will not allow Patty's manipulation to go unanswered. And yet, despite the intensity of the confrontation, Patty seems strangely unfazed, as though she believes she has already accomplished what she set out to do. Outside the room, the tension continues to ripple through the yacht as Billy Abbott and Kyle Abbott absorb the shocking updates about what has just taken place. Billy's earlier investigative work had already uncovered Patty's involvement, but even he could not have predicted how far the situation would spiral once Diane finally confronted the truth. Kyle, meanwhile, struggles with the emotional weight of seeing his father caught in such a humiliating and painful ordeal. For both men, anger toward Patty grows stronger with every detail they learn about the manipulation behind Jack's condition. Yet even as frustration builds within the Abbott family, the situation refuses to deliver the immediate justice they crave. Despite the reckless and underhanded tactics she used, Patty manages to slip away from the chaos surrounding the yacht before anyone can truly hold her accountable. That escape leaves the Abbotts facing an even more bitter reality as the truth settles in. Patty's role in the scheme may be obvious now, but the larger mastermind behind the entire ordeal still looms over the situation like a shadow. Victor's calculated decision to recruit Patty and set this chain of events into motion has unleashed a crisis that cuts far deeper than anyone initially realized. Jack must now confront the emotional consequences of what happened while under the influence of the drugs, knowing the damage it may have done to his relationship with Diane. Diane, in turn, is left grappling with a flood of conflicting emotions, rage toward Patty, betrayal at what she witnessed, and lingering uncertainty about how much of Jack's actions were truly his own. Even if logic tells her he was manipulated, the image burned into her memory refuses to let go. As the yacht drifts quietly across the dark water and the immediate chaos begins to settle, the Abbott family stands at the edge of another painful chapter in their story. Jack's shame over what happened weighs heavily on him as he realizes how deeply Diane has been hurt by the situation. Diane, meanwhile, cannot simply erase the moment from her mind, and the fragile trust between them now trembles under the weight of doubt and emotional scars. Billy and Kyle remain determined to uncover the full truth behind Victor's involvement, knowing the family cannot truly move forward without confronting the man responsible for orchestrating the disaster. And somewhere out there, Patty makes her way back toward Genoa City, having played her part in a dangerous plan that has already left lasting damage in its wake. The battle lines have been drawn once again, and the Abbott family now faces a painful question. How much more can they endure before Victor's schemes finally push them past the point of no return?